6 years and only 19 fights.
Seconds out, round 5.
Micheal Watson from Islington, man who has been plagued through his career with fragile hands. They've given him quite a lot of trouble. Had his fastest win in the open air at Wembley on the night that Frank Bruno met Tim Witherspoon. And he knocked out a Welshman, Simon Collins, there in 1 minute and 29 with right hands. Former National Association of Boys Clubs champion, Watson, back in '84. And a former London ABA champion, middleweight. Didn't win an ABA title. The only man who's beaten Watson as a pro is James Cook, South Londoner, former Southern Area champion, and it's quite likely that they're going to meet again shortly. I know Mickey Duff, the manager of Watson, was hoping that the board might put up Watson and Cook as a title fight, but that's been turned down. But it will certainly rank as an eliminator for the British title, which is currently vacant, of course. Johnny Simpson was the former British champion, but he's retired now. From Styles, caught Watson unawares, but there's no doubt that Styles is receiving a lot more than he's giving. Is that right again from Styles? Watson really mustn't be taking those. Completely open and sort of standing around waiting for it and paid for it. You really mustn't do that. Good right from Watson. Stirred him into action. Well, that's a sign of perhaps inexperience from Watson. He was doing nothing, standing around and just inviting a right-hander, and that's precisely what Styles threw and caught him. And he really mustn't do that sort of thing if he wants to go places in this game. Here it is. That was the one. That was a good punch. So, no doubt getting all sorts of advice from that little assembled company there. All of whom retire when the bell goes and they leave it to him.
Seconds out, round 6.
Clearing, please.
Scheduled 10-rounder. We enter the second half. Well, this might go quite a long way, I suspect, and that won't be bad for Watson. You just remind him that there are fighters in the world who can take a good punch and come back at you, and you've got to beat him. Styles is quite a useful worker. And proving to be rather more difficult than Don Lee was in Watson's last fight, which is a little surprising. Lee had been in with a lot of very, very classy fighters, whereas you have to look very hard to find a recognizable name on Styles' record. Styles made a complaint there about the head, and Watson was warned about it. Again, that right hand of Styles. It's quite ominous at times, and Watson is noticeably open to it. Left this time from Styles, and Watson's having problems here because his punching is having no effect on Styles. And Styles is capable of taking all of Watson's best punches. Well, I said earlier that Watson had fragile hands, and maybe that they do bother him a bit, and Styles certainly doesn't appear at the moment to be too worried about the best of Watson's punches. And again in this round, looked dangerous with the right hand. Oh, that was the complaint about the head.